good day.
Everybody around the world, my lord, it's Greg.
It's Matt.
And we're the bottom tier. We're back again for another podcast.
Another one.
Episode 6, Matt.
To end. Oh, already.
Yeah, already.
Mark of the beast.
It only feels like 3 episodes.
I know. Well, it just has gone really, really fast, to be honest.
Yeah. And really, anything you do with your friends is just a burden halved.
You're right. You're right.
Guys, I apologize. It's been kind of a long day.
Yeah.
My brain is not 100% here. I'm floating in like 8 different directions. But it's cool. It's fine because we're here to talk about some Flesh and Blood.
We're here to talk about Flesh and Blood. It's been a pretty interesting week as far as Flesh and Blood. Like, not too much news has come out. We have had more lore drop, but one of our recurring segments, we're going to just get down right in the beginning because I feel like I have a lot to talk about on this one.
Well, then let's just jump right in, man.
Lessons learned.
It's lessons learned.
Lessons learned. So my lesson I learned is huge. So we played a skirmish this last weekend.
Yes, we did.
And the lesson learned for me was learn to read. If you are part of or subscribed to our YouTube channel, thank you so much. You're amazing.
We really do appreciate you.
But also, I posted a video called Aggro Bolton because I was really excited. I thought I figured something new out for Bolton, and it involved the Courage of Bladehold with hatchets. If you read Courage of Bladehold, I was playing Bolton for such a while that I was just like, oh, it just gives me one less resource for my weapons. It specifically says sword. And that means I couldn't use my hatchets to be able to do big turns, which means I was totally like, Bolton sucks.
Well, forget about this.
I was so upset. Luckily, I caught it before the skirmish happened, so I wasn't sitting there going like, well, I'm disqualified or anything like that. I was able to make a FaB deck real fast. But
and really, you did pretty well with that fight.
Yeah.
Too. You got like top 8.
It was my first time getting top 8.
Guys,
yeah.
Matt is formerly top tier as of last Saturday.
Yeah. And I also have another lesson learned from being top 8.
The gifts, they just keep on coming to everybody. True wisdom in episode 6 of the bottom tier this week.
When you're in top 8, if someone is ranked higher than you and you're paired against them, they get to pick who goes first and who goes second. And that only matters in a 5 mirror match, which was what it was. And I was like, that's fantastic. I am so pumped.
Should I just quit now? Do you just want me to surrender? Is that what you want?
Yeah, he was like, yo, I'm going second. I was like, cool, that's great. I lose.
I pass.
Yeah, I know. Like, I lose. Sounds awesome. So it was interesting. Lesson learned, read your cards. Make sure you understand them completely, especially if you're building something around that specific stuff. And I hope I am one day able to be recovered from this massive burn with Bolton. But he's continuously just getting lower and lower on the bottom tier list. You might have to switch one of our main characters out with that guy.
We'll swap Levy out. I don't think Azalea should ever change because Azalea is the bottom of the bottom.
Oh, for sure.
And I think she probably will be forever.
Yeah.
But Levy is actually starting to see some successes.
Yeah.
And you're playing Levy now a little bit too.
I built a Levy, a commoner deck because it's fun, but I think that's what commoner is for, is just to try out new heroes and understand them and kind of learn more of what that is. Because it was interesting. It was my first time playing like a dash really competitively in the Blitz format because we don't have a lot of dash players, but someone pulled it out for Blitz, and I was like, I need to make more heroes and play them so I can understand them more. So,
and that's like really commoner is like the best way to do that.
Yeah,
because you have to just rely on the main like gimmick of the character.
Yeah,
you don't get to necessarily pull out the crazy powerful super rare stuff.
Yeah,
and start just going nuts.
Yeah, and I think I think half the battle is understanding your character's ability or the opposite character's ability so that you can understand the plan of action against it.
100%.
So but I think you have to play it to truly understand it. Like, you can verse it many times, but once you play it is when you really grasp like the potential of what it can do.
And that's a bottom tier top tip, everybody. Play a bunch of heroes, figure them out, and you'll never be caught unaware.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Words of wisdom. Episode 6. Words of wisdom.
I think that's it. We're going to call it Words of Wisdom. People who are Mormon are going to be very confused about what we're talking about. No, just good old Mormon joke.
He's allowed to make them.
I'm allowed to make them. Sorry. We now
so
our church is now
so we've offended the Mormons. We've likely offended other religious groups as well by kind of piggybacking off of that. Who else can we offend today, Matt?
We didn't offend the Mormon. They're probably just pumped that we called it that.
Is that actually how it works?
Yeah,
I don't know. I really.
Anyways,
it was a weird tangent.
Yeah, well, we are now followers of James White.
Our religion is flesh and blood. Which actually, I was raised Catholic. My religion is flesh and blood. Sounds a lot like Catholicism, actually.
Oh my gosh.
It's weird.
Maybe this is like some crazy like journey for us to no, I'm just kidding.
Find our way back to God.
Yeah, all right. That's actually a clue for the next hero.
Right, exactly. LSS reached out to us, guys. They asked us to do this whole like alternate reality game thing. Yeah. So for all 12 of you, let's play.
Well, that's kind of like one of my lessons learned this week. What about you? What did you learn?
Oh man, I learned a ton this week. Really, the biggest thing for me though is really don't get overconfident. Don't go into a situation thinking, oh yeah, I got this in the bag. It's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Because
when you go in like that, you close yourself off to the potential that could happen in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So you take Flesh and Blood, for example. You get into a game and you see who you're playing, you see who they're playing, and you think to yourself, oh yeah, this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
I got this. Like the matchup is definitely on my side. Mm-hmm. And then they pull out some ridiculous combination you never heard of before or even conceived of before, and congratulations, you've just been two-turned. So don't get overconfident. Just stay calm. Think through each interaction in each game as each interaction in each game, and go from there. Allow yourself to be surprised.
Yeah. Don't ever think of someone like people can always come out of nowhere and really surprise you on their ability, and so that's a really good lesson learned. In fact, that like coincides with how I even made top 8. Like I was versing someone who I was like, man, they're very top tier player. They're always ranked like number 1, and they're playing their best hero, which is Prism. And I was playing a FaB deck that I just made the morning, and their whole goal was, even though it's a preferable matchup for me, their goal was to really kind of keep taking away my cards and just like, what's the word for it? Fatigue me. And what happened was at the end, they only had very few cards because I was equally fatiguing them. And I was like, cool, you just have auras. I'm just going to keep swinging with my sword every turn. I just have 1 blue, pitch, sword. 1 blue, pitch, sword. 1 blue, pitch, sword. And that ended up winning the game because he was like, I'll block for 3 turns, but I'm at 3 HP, so you're going to win and just pass all my auras because all I have is auras.
And at that point, all he could do was just block with the auras.
He's like, GG. So that's what won the game, was just being persistent. And like, even though on the inside I was panicking, like, oh my gosh, this person's really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could be able to do it. Like I just stuck it out and ended up pulling the win at the end.
And it's like super important to realize that in a game like this, there's always an element of chance. No matter how well you prepare, no matter how well your opponent prepares, it comes down to what you draw in hand and how you react in the moment.
Yeah.
One misplay at really high level play can completely mess you up.
Yeah.
So it just kind of gets back to don't overestimate yourself, and then don't underestimate who you're playing.
Yeah.
Just come in with it try to have an even keeled mindset about it. I feel like is the best way to go, because then if you get surprised by something, you're not so surprised that you can't recover and adapt to it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I agree with you 100%. Like, this game is just about adapting and understanding more. And as we mentioned before, our other top tips was just like, was be consistent, play the hero a lot. You're going to learn something new, and different variations of that deck is really surprising. Like we saw that Stubby Hammers ban, and FaB's builds have been insane now, where people are getting really creative with being able to do that. And then there's a whole argument of like Kodachi or like Searing Emberblade, which is better. And it's interesting on what these decks do because they have valid points for both of them. So just never underestimate and learn those things. And I think for me being a new player, it's like, oh, I'm finally understanding what meta talks are and how things will get stuck in a meta. Because like once FaB is fine tuned to like, this is what it is.
This is
we won't see really
the best way to play this hero.
We won't really see variation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful for the arguing right now because it makes me go like, oh, at least we have 2 interesting FaB decks, which is one's focused on that, one's focused on that. But
okay, but really, we all know where it's going to end up going. Zephyr Needle FaB.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Right? It could work.
Yeah,
potentially.
You just have to make sure it has more attack or I'll break.
Yeah, exactly. Which, have fun. Pour one out for Benji, everybody.
Oh no, Benji's great. Like he can do that all day, but FaB, I don't know. I don't think it'll be great for FaB.
See, though, forget about the meta for a second. How fun does that sound? To come
It sounds good.
Completely from left field with some build
I would
nobody's
build
expecting.
that. I would build that in Commoner, 100%.
Oh God, yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think you should do that. I think you should present that to the next Commoner.
You know what? I might do that.
Yeah.
I've been tossing around some heroes here recently. I've been thinking about some different ones. I've been playing around with some Guardian builds and
oh, nice.
Yeah, it's it's sort of playing with some other Rune Blades, and I have a Dory deck that I'm kind of tinkering on that looks pretty good. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, well, maybe this kind of brings us to our meat potatoes of this podcast. Is last time you were talking about you were dating different heroes, and I've actually
just kind of seeing where I wanted to end.
Yeah, and I've talked to a few more people that have ran into the same situation that you have, where Chain recently got Living Legend, we also see people playing Prism already starting that I'm single, ready to mingle phase of their hero career of finding which hero is great for them.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, right.
Literally, it feels like speed dating.
It does, and so they're kind of going through trying to find their next hero after Prism. And like, what is that journey like? Like, what have you noticed? Has there been something that bites for you? And like, what are you looking for as a card player to maximize that same feeling you had with playing Chain? Because what's interesting about this game is every hero feels different, gives you a different feeling. So what are you really searching for, and like how's that journey going?
So here's kind of what I look for, and of course everybody's experience with this sort of thing is going to be different.
Yeah,
because everybody's ultimately looking for something a little bit different in a deck, which is why we have so many different options for all the heroes, and why the meta is. I mean, it's aggro heavy at this point, but there's still a lot of variation, a lot of potential in basically every hero.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding what ends up working for you. So for me, like the thing that attracted me about Chain and sort of Chain's whole like workflow, if you will, is that it's relatively straightforward to understand while still being complex enough that you could leverage it in different ways.
Yeah.
So in a Chain turn, and for anybody out there who's never played Chain before, super fun hero, really interesting. Recommend giving him a try in Blitz or in Commoner where he's still legal. But Chain's whole thing sort of revolves around his hero ability, which allows you to create an aura called a Soul Shackle, which has the effect that at the start of each of your turns, you banish cards off the top of your deck for however many Soul Shackles you have created. When you create this aura, it gives whatever the next attack action card you play in a turn, whether if it's a Shadow or a Rune Blade card, it gives it go again. So you can start getting these big chains of non-attack, trigger chains effect, give the attack card that's been buffed with the non-attack, go again.
Yeah.
Hit them. Do another non-attack. Find something else that has like a go again built in, or use like Snapdragons or something else, or a piece of equipment or something.
Yeah.
To give that go again, and just kind of keep that up until the end of the turn, where the current meta and really the most reasonable thing to do is you use one more resource and you swing with Rosetta Thorn to do the arcane and the normal damage.
Yeah.
So even though you're not hitting for like brute level or like guardian level power on like each card, you've in a good turn, you play 2 or 3 non-attacks, you play a couple of attacks and swing with your sword, you're threatening 15 damage, 10, 15 damage, and some of that's arcane, which requires them then to either just take it because they didn't bring any arcane barrier, or it requires them to start pitching in order to pay for the AB. So it's a lot of not just interaction with your deck and your hero and your card on your turn, but understanding how your opponent's going to respond to that. Yeah. Like if you take a more straightforward sort of hero, like your brutes or your warriors or what have you, it seems like it's from where I'm sitting with relatively little experience in some of these other ones, and you can of course chime in and correct me at any point. But it seems like a much more straightforward sort of flow. Take like Dory, for example. All Dory wants to do is Dory wants to play a non-attack to buff the sword, and then attack with the sword. Yep. And then attack again with the sword, and then Arsenal Pass.
Pretty much, yeah.
Basically.
It's like what you're explaining is like, I don't know if anyone's ever, like everyone's heard this probably in passing, is tall, wide, and another one. I don't know, the control. Tall, wide, control. Somewhere on those lines. So tall is where you stack up all this power for one giant, like, massive damage going your way at one blow.
Yep, one card that'll do 19 damage.
Wide is small chip damage to be able to stack up. Control or fatigue is more like, hey, we're not going to really be focusing on doing damage, but we're going to make sure we're manipulating you to get rid of cards and everything like that.
I did 3 damage this turn, but now you have 9 frostbites.
Correct, yeah. So, like, Chain definitely was one of those wide wide decks.
Definitely. And that's really where my wheelhouse is. I like the aggressiveness of it, but I also like the fact that it doesn't all come down to one card. That if the opponent ends up blocking the effects from, one of the attacks that comes in, that's not everything that I had this turn. I've got some stuff that I can keep going for.
Yeah. I
have a little bit more of that flexibility in order to respond to what they're doing. Like if they come in with like a defense reaction or something that I don't see coming, chain builds for to carry on with the example, have a lot of flexibility in how they can go. We've seen pummel chains in Commoner, where you swing with your sword, somebody blocks it, and then you come in with the pummel afterwards to attack on the 3, and you get the chip off. And there's a lot of little things like that you can do. So it's very flexible. It's very quick for being as wide as it is, and that really works for me. And from what I've experienced, no other hero really has sort of that same flexibility. Like there are plenty that can go wide. There are plenty of who can do it aggressively, but I haven't really run into any who can kind of slip between the cracks like Chain could, if that makes sense. There's a lot of just general utility in his builds and in how his cards work with his hero effect versus a lot of other heroes that just really appealed to me. So the tricky part that I'm having is finding really that sort of synergy that really resonates with me. Yeah. Chain is just how my brain works. It banish 3 cards and 2 of them are ones that you can play out of your banish zone. Okay. So I essentially have a 6-card hand now. Yeah. Which gives me a lot more that I can do. So being sort of restrained like a 4-card hand, maybe, with something in the arsenal, if that works, is a little tricky in and of itself. And then, you look at some of the earlier classes and they're way more straightforward. Brutes, Guardians, and Warriors, and Ninjas for the most part. Ninjas are full wide, Brutes are full tall, and then Warrior sort of lives in the middle, and then Guardian's way even taller than Brute is. But none of them really have the utility that I'm looking for. And then you start getting into the light and the shadow, and they're fine. I enjoy playing Prism, and Levy is a little bit beyond me because I'm not a huge Brute fan. Yeah, but still entertaining, still interesting, still has a lot going on in the deck. Yeah, and then the elements, you start fusing stuff, and you have like 9 different card types in your deck because that's what you need. And I just that's too much at that point. There's too much going on then. So really, I don't know. It's just I found my sweet spot, and I was unfortunate enough to find my sweet spot immediately, right at the same time everybody else was finding out that actually was the sweet spot. Yeah. I mean, I think what I'm hearing a lot is just the complexity of Chain, or the versatility of Chain is really what the appeal is, right? 100%. But I mean, I think that's what's cool about our podcast, and what we're kind of going for is trying to find that complexity with every hero. So for instance, Dorinthia, you have the standard, I'm going to boost up, be able to attack and swing tall with my weapon because I want to make sure I hit with my weapon. But the complexity thing behind it is the mind game behind Dorinthia too. So you go, sweet, I'm swinging with this weapon and I'm attacking you for 3. I have 2 resources available and 2 to 3 cards in hand. What are you going to do? And then they go, you have an attack reaction. I'm blocking for a lot of points. And you're like, haha, well, I did give my Dawnblade go again. However, I'm attacking you now with an attack reaction or just a normal attack card. People don't see that coming. And so you could be like, here's Flock of the Featherwalkers. I have a Quicken token so I can give my sword a boost and go again later on after I hit you, all that type of stuff. And so you're able to do all this really interesting stuff
with this like kind of you think is a basic hero, but yet you're able to be complex with how you build it, right?
Exactly. And that like a couple 3 weeks ago, we had a discussion where we sort of compared and contrasted people who play the meta, people who play against the meta, and people who are just kind of out doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Pseudo meta.
Yeah.
And really, like, my biggest thing is that I've always been one of those pseudo meta players. I've never really wanted to adhere to like the orthodoxy, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Not that, it doesn't have a place, not that it's not, a good thing to have sort of that foundation to work off of. It's just never been where I've been happiest. So the sort of stuff that you're talking about, like playing some of those mind games and really trying to find the interesting ways to work the hero and to leverage their particular abilities and card sets and stuff, like that's stuff that I really enjoy. The trick for me, in the comments or whatever, if you have experienced something like this too, please let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions on this. But for me, while that's entertaining, while that works for me, it doesn't necessarily make my heart sing when it's me trying to adapt something to fit me rather than finding something that just kind of works for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is where I am right now. So I'm playing around with Briar a little bit. I'm thinking about Visceride, sort of staying in that same Rune Blade, sort of play the non-attacks, play the attacks, do the arcane and the physical sort of thing. I'm looking at like Guardian and Warrior to be a little taller and actually go a little more, smash them in the face sort of thing. There's a lot of possibility out there. I'm working on Dromai a little bit. I think Dromai might be my new Blitz contender.
Yeah.
I think that she looks really good in that format, and Chain's just not doing it for me right now.
And Blitz, it's so fascinating how your hero can feel totally different in a different format.
Oh, it really does.
Because like Chain is good in Blitz. It's just like sometimes you're just like, I don't want to play this in Blitz. I would rather like this is more of my CC hero.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's situational too. Like as much as we say that there are no like bad heroes or there's no like matchups, they're 100% A are bad heroes, and B sometimes the matchup is just bad.
Yeah.
I took my Chain to Blitz and I played two Ice heroes. I played an Icelander and an Oldhim.
Yep.
And both of them fatigued the heck out of me. And my Chain deck had a very, very tight resource curve. So once the Frostbite started, I was done. There was nothing I could do to recover from that because of how the deck was built.
Yeah.
So, finding one of those bad matchups or something and learning how to overcome it is a whole separate thing.
Yeah.
But having to transition heroes and having to learn, okay, well, what was a bad matchup before is no longer a bad matchup. I can totally handle, an Icelander now with this deck. But now I have to be worried about Rhinar or something.
Yeah.
Like, it adds whole new aspects to it, which are both, entertaining and, like, I'm having fun with it, building new decks and learning new heroes and stuff. But I'm also sort of frustrated because I don't know any of these well enough to really be able to do well. And as much as I just play for fun, and as much as we're here to, have a good time and to improve, and part of that is, getting your butt kicked, it's still, not great when that's all that happens. Like the skirmish we went to, you got top 8.
Yeah.
With the FaB deck that you basically put together there.
I did, yeah.
I went 0-5.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And, especially in the community that we're lucky enough to be a part of, we have very high-level players here.
Yeah.
We have some really phenomenal people who just hang out and just come by and are just really good at this game, just like almost casually. Not to, say that they don't do anything or that they're not practicing or things like that. They clearly put a lot of time into this.
Oh, absolutely.
But the way that they do it is just so like, yeah, I'm super good at this. Like, let's just boom, 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 boom,
it's masterful in a way. So, like, we had our winner went undefeated, didn't lose a single game, played Dash. And that Dash was insane. It was just like, oh, here I'm starting with this, and I'm just going to be pumping out big turns the entire time for a blitz, and just swept. And we even had, like, the top 2 was them. I don't remember their name, unfortunately, because they were very kind of more to themselves. But Alex Vore was there playing Kano, and was number 2 and lost the Dash as well. And so it was just, like, really cool. Like, oh, wow, like, this is... Like you can tell that they've put a lot of time in this deck. They love Mechanologists, so Data Doll was their other Blitz deck, but they're just like, Data Doll's not great right now to be able to bring to something like this. And so it's just really cool to see and like experience that. But yeah, they're a tough crowd. It was really tough.
it is really tough. And so I'm not like heartbroken that I didn't win anything, but at the same time I am kind of heartbroken about it. Like,
yeah, you got to get some wins once in a while,
right? Just a little bit as a treat.
Yeah, when you get a win, I think that's an important part of picking your hero. And not to make this episode like about you or sad.
No,
or whatever,
totally.
but like,
we didn't actually plan anything this episode, so whatever this one turns into, I'm okay with.
Yeah, right. Well, like the thing is like when you get a win with the hero, it kind of sparks that like, oh, for some reason, something has clicked for me to make this work for me. So that was like my first experience with FaB was at our sealed event. Played Icelander because like, probably not going to play FaB, even though I was told to play FaB. Icelander seemed really cool because I like wizards and never really played it before. And I thought I had a really good Icelander deck. And I lost, like I was 0-2. And then I was like, you know what? You're able to switch decks in the middle of sealed if you're able to make the other one. And so I went ahead and switched to FaB and all of a sudden won stuff. And that sound right there was the win. Sorry for the background noise. They decided to hit a gong outside.
For some reason, why on earth is there a gong out there?
I don't know. Just to celebrate our victory of podcasting, and I will have a conversation with that person later. All
right, fantastic. That works. Yeah. Bottom tier top tip, everybody. Get yourselves a gong and celebrate those wins.
No, it was I know. I'm sorry again for weird noises in the background. If you guys didn't hear it, cool. I'll edit it out. But having those wins made me go like, oh, there's something here. Oh, are you going to play FaB? Like, I don't know. It seems kind of like I cheated a little bit, but in actuality, I was just playing my cards really well, and I'm able to think that way, and I've gotten a really cool relationship with FaB, and apparently so has half the world. But like
everybody who plays this game plays fine.
Yeah,
FaB and blood.
But it's interesting to be able to go through and play and be able to have some success with it. And I'm not planning on being a meta chaser, but I was just like, I have fun with this deck. It's a really good, easy pickup and just go.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And when you find something like that you enjoy and that's relatively easy to, jump in and do, 100% go with it. Like, don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Just, live your life, play your game.
Play your game. But if it gets Living Legend, then it's just, you got to find that way. So what have been your strategies? Has it been watching videos, or has it been building? Like what have you been doing to find that next, like, this feels right, this is bringing success?
Well, it's been a combination of a couple of different things. I've watched some videos. A lot of like the deck tech stuff assumes that you have a familiarity with the hero already. Yeah. That I've found, which is not like, I have a passing familiarity with most of the heroes in the game, but I don't necessarily have like a deep enough understanding of how the engines work and everything at this point to be able to watch something like that where they're just like, and of course, your blues are this, and this for obvious reasons or something, right? Yeah. Or just like assumes that kind of how it works already.
I think that's why we decided, on a side note, just go subscribe to the YouTube channel. But like,
check it out. It's really great.
On a side note, like when we are doing our deck techs, like I said, I want to be able to then draw 4 cards, show how I'll play that hand, and see, so we could show what those cards are. Is because I feel like a lot of YouTube does that, but you're watching those and then has what's come across your mind.
So I watched some of those, and most of what I'm thinking is like, this is not working for me. Like, this doesn't work at all. Mm-hmm. So then I go online, because the internet is the great repository of all knowledge. Yeah. Shout out to the internet, I guess.
Shout out.
And then I look at decks, and I just read cards, and I look at the heroes, and I play games in my head. Honestly, like I start playing with some synergies and just thinking about what could possibly happen from it, like the other night, for our Commodore League on Tuesdays, I was the first one there. I had one of my decks just kind of laid out in front of me. I was just staring at it when Matt comes over. Yeah, and he's just like, "Hey man, what's going on? What are you doing?" I'm doing stuff in my head. I'm just playing hands in my head, and I'm looking at this and I'm working out all the synergies between the different cards and stuff, because I just net decked that. I just pulled it off of FabDB.com, or .net or whatever it is. And I put it together because I had all the cards and everything, and I was giving it a try. But as I was looking at it, I was realizing, well, these ones here, they don't really accomplish very much We could do something better with that. And this deck does a lot of lightning fusions, but I only have like 3 lightning cards in this deck. So maybe I should amp up the lightning gear, some of these generics. So it's going through this process where, you sort of take what other people are saying and you adapt it to your own sort of context and find what works for you, which I'm not hugely successful in yet, but I'm making progress.
Yeah.
We're doing okay.
I think that's the important part of when you build those decks from FaBDB. Like, you build it, run some hands, learn what they're thinking, but know that every single person that builds a deck has a totally different thought process from you.
100%.
And so whatever combo they found that works for them, they optimized or hopefully optimized that deck to be able to do that combo that they saw, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're not able to figure that out, like, then switch up and put your own stuff. That's what I did with my, like, when I was really proud of Dorinthia, was like, all right, I see this, but like, I don't like this because I like can get stopped. And like, all of a sudden they already know they're going to full block me. It stops me from getting go again. I can't do anything. But what if I did all that? They block me, they full block me because they're scared. And then I'm like, well, now here's this other card that you weren't expecting. And now you have to take that damage because you blocked, because I'm only picking cards that are going to push 4 or 5. And so it created a really cool deck mechanic. It won one of our Connomer tournaments because that person caught my vision of what was going on. Right. And so like that's really cool to be able to like think of those things and kind of change it and then make it more yours. And then you're officially kind of have an attachment to that hero.
Definitely. And once you put the time in and you understand it to the point where you're doing that sort of thing, like the hero either becomes a part of you or you know that they're not really for you and you never really go back to it.
Yeah. Like I had someone come over the other day, brought over a Lexi deck because Lexi was a hero I was actually debating because I thought like there's a hero that's going to be like in the meta forever and is able to do really well against all heroes. It's probably going to be Lexi. But like you have to play Lexi. Like Lexi's a really hard hero to learn.
Oh yeah. Ranger is a difficult class in the first place because you have to kind of like change around some of the mechanics and stuff to work the arrows and everything. And then when you add the elemental stuff on top of that, like that's even trickier.
Yeah.
Like, do you go lightning heavy and go for speed? Do you go ice heavy and go for fatigue? Do you try to hybridize it and go mid-tempo sort of control-y? Or like how exactly do you want to leverage this build?
Yeah. So do I flip a card, then play a card and do that? And
exactly.
It's a lot of
super
stuff.
Tricky.
Yeah. So I got to play it. I learned Lexi wasn't for me because it's just like it is difficult, but like at least I got my hands on it and learned a little bit how to play that way. And literally just like, again, going back is just play those heroes, play it in your mind, go to Felt Table, get a deck list.
Felt Table is great.
Get a deck list, throw it in Felt Table, play some hands in there because you don't require the cards for that. And then the other thing that I think is a really advice that no one says, everyone says buy singles, which is very smart for when you know what deck you want to build. But I honestly would also say, like, if you have the funds to buy a box of a hero that you're interested in set so you can just read through the cards and be like, oh, this is cool. Oh, I see this thing here. Oh, that's awesome.
You will inevitably discover something
that
you weren't
stuff.
aware of before and that's not in the meta that you can leverage to great effect.
Yeah.
Like before I bought my first Monarch box, I had no idea that that Shadow Heroes had cards that would decharge a light hero's soul. It would take cards out of your soul.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Which is made for draft. Like that's perfect for those draft or like limited formats, is because you're gonna verse a light hero eventually. So it's great for that. But like if you end up versing a light hero and have that in your deck, then hot dog, like you got it.
Right?
Know?
Exactly. But then of course on the flip side, if you don't end up playing a light hero, you just have some useless cards chilling in your deck.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Give and take.
Yeah. Lunatide Plunder is not bad, but
so Lunatide Plunder. Oh man. What an interesting card that is.
It's great for Levia. It really is.
It would be great for
No,
Levia.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But so to sort of piggyback off that, people say buy singles all the time, which is good advice. Provided two things. Like you said, the first thing is that you know what deck you want to play.
Yeah.
Some of these things are expensive. So just going out and plopping a bunch of money down on stuff that you're not sure that you actually enjoy, like that's silly.
Yeah.
But the second thing is the expense of it. Like I was looking at some deck stuff today. Specifically on putting together a Data Doll deck because I love Data Doll.
Yeah.
And it might be a hot take, but I firmly believe that Data Doll can absolutely be tops in Blitz with the correct deck build.
Yeah,
100%. So I was looking at stuff for that deck. Did you know that Teklo Foundry Heart is actually going for more than Arcanite Skullcap right now?
Yeah, I believe it. Arcanite Skullcap actually went down in price.
It's been going down, but
because of Crown of Providence.
Because of Providence.
Did you see that? Did you see how expensive Crown of Providence?
Providence is ridiculous.
$160.
Really good card, but is it worth $160? I don't know. But I mean, let's even look at that. Like if I wanted to come with with a full bore like competitive FaB deck, very in the meta right now.
Yep.
Probably a very good deck. Like, how many hundreds of dollars is that? Tiger Stripes, Mask of Momentum.
Mask of Momentum's like 130. Tiger Stripes Shuko is probably about 100 right now. It went down a little bit.
And then
Flamescale Furnace.
Flamescale is another.
Actually, it went up because now everybody's going for
So that's like 130 or something.
So you're looking at probably about a base of like $500.
$500.
$500.
$500.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else. But, my financial situation is not one where I can just go plop down $500 on a deck of cards.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's scary to do.
It's terrifying to do.
I had the benefit possible. Of doing it.
Yeah. And so, like, that's one of the things that really holds me back. We're looping back around to the whole, like, hero dating thing.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that holds me back, too, is that a lot of these decks that are, like, the competitive level ones, the ones that you need to have in order to actually, get the wins in an organized, normal event, like a CC or a Blitz event.
Yeah.
You've got to have the Majestics. You've got to have legendary stuff. You've got to, have an Eye of Ophidia ready to go in certain builds or something like that. So you're looking at a lot of expenditure in order to get there, which is one of the issues that I have. Like if I had access to the cards, I feel like I could come up with more and better strategies, but I don't. So I have to work with the 95% commons I have, the one legendary, and the couple of Majestics I can fill in. Like last week before we did the Blitz skirmish, I was posted on the Discord. We were asking people like in our community, like I needed a particular card, in order to run this deck. I ended up finding it, but I had to pay like 3 times more than I was anticipating paying for it because all they had was the foil version of it. They didn't have the standard one. And I'm not, super upset about that or anything. It was still within, what I could afford to spend, and it looks really nice. But it's more money than I had planned to spend on it. And that hurts me, man. I could have taken that money and I could have done something else with it. I could have bought dinner for my partner and I could have, bought something for my pets. I could have put it in the gas tank so I didn't have to fill up, for an extra day or two.
Yeah.
Like there are other things that I could have and probably should have put that money to, that it's just the more and more expensive it gets, the harder it becomes to justify it, especially when you're dropping $130 or $150 for a single card.
Yeah, that's why you get married. That's why we talk about the married to your deck, is because you don't have to like worry about it anymore. You got the stuff you need. You're able to go forward and just kind of stick with that until the next step, right?
Exactly.
So I understand. Like we talked about a few things. As you're out there dating, like you have to worry about costs. You have to worry about all of this. And so I guess like the top tip or the thing I would suggest is while you're out there doing that is you need to find out what hero you truly want to play as and what makes you excited to play. And so a couple things you can do is if you have a really cool meta, like again, every single week I feel like we say we're very grateful for Arizona. We have a lot of people that have been playing the hobby for a long time and a lot of people that have a lot of extra CC decks. So you can say, hey, I'm going to be coming tonight and I would like to play a different hero because I'm just trying to find a new one. You could borrow someone else's made deck with all the expensive shiny things, be able to try it out and see how it goes. Or again, you can felt table, play some matches, see what you want that way, open some boxes, see what you can pull, and resell those legendaries. We brought that advice up before to be able to buy the ones that you're looking for, which I was lucky enough to be able to do for most of my costs, is be like, all right, I have this extra thing, I'm going to sell it so I can buy this, and now I have this for my hero, Right. So like that's kind of how it goes, is like just go out there and people will have the decks out there and you'll be able to go and practice and see what you like and then be able to have a goal for what you're going to go for. And you don't have to buy everything in one fatal swoop. You can just be like, hey, this is the hero I'm going for. Can I borrow people's stuff? Or is it okay if I proxy? Proxy.
And then proxy.
And then when you finally are like, oh, this is great. Oh man, I got invited to nationals. It's going to be worth spending some money. You know, like that. Then you're
at that point, 100% put the money down.
Yeah,
like,
and you're like, okay, cool. I made it, and like I had a cool enough community to be able to let me proxy, and now I got to buy this stuff. Fine, that's great. Or I could borrow it, whatever. Right. So like, there's options. Like this game, it does have that intensive price point, especially if you want to play competitively. But again, like everybody I've met has been so chill with proxy and everything like that. And this skirmish, I didn't have an Art of War for FaB because I have proxy Art of Wars in my deck because, man, I don't want to pay $50 for that card right now. Just like you said.
Yeah.
And they need 3 of them. So FaB's almost $1,000 right there. FaB's decks might be almost $1,000 actually. Yeah. But I was like, can I borrow your roll? Yep, absolutely. So they'll let you borrow all that type of stuff. So I highly recommend doing that when you're playing those big tournaments and trying out new decks and all that stuff. And I hope you find your hero soon that makes you stoked, especially in competitive, especially in CC. Commoner, that's when you date a lot.
Play the field. Just go out there, rock everyone.
I think that I like running a new hero every single week in Commoner just to be like, this is so much different and fun because it's just relax. I'm not there to win. I'm there to win, but I'm not there to like be
dominate
crazy.
Or like I need to have this many wins for this much XP to get to this
I have no idea
or something.
Anything about that XP stuff. So
I have no clue.
I don't know where I stand. But hey,
you can look that up on
I can.
FabTCG.com.
But hey, guess what? Probably the bottom tier. Never mind. I might be a top 8 might have put me up somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, congratulations. You're the top 900,000.
In your face.
Us scrubs down at like 1.3.
I'm the Levia. You're the Azalea in the photo. Right?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But so guys, I hope you've enjoyed. I think this is a good part to kind of. I feel like the content was good. We had a good discussion about it.
Yeah, I feel like that went pretty well, guys. And really quick, quick shout out to the local community here in
once again,
in the Phoenix, Arizona area, guys. I don't know if it's true other places, but the people here have just been super welcoming and very nice and just really cool people. Very, very happy to have other people, sort of in the hobby and getting and just getting the reps in and getting good. So it's been a real pleasure to play with everybody here in the East Valley of the Sun. Yeah, it's been amazing, guys. Again, thanks for listening to the podcast. We talked about kind of the dating scene. That maybe that we might call this the words of wisdom or speed dating or flesh and blood speed dating might be a good one too. That could work. Yeah. But we'll workshop it a little bit. But if you enjoy what you hear or want to join the conversation, leave us a comment down below. Like, subscribe, reviews, all that type of jazz. Like I say this because we want to hit 100. I think 100 is a good number. We do. We're trying to get both 100 followers for the podcast itself and 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Guys, if you haven't checked out the YouTube yet, what are you doing with your life? Yeah, and if you do that, we might be doing a giveaway. We might just do some giveaways. I mean, Greg did just talk about money is expensive, but hey. But look, there's 2 of us. This is worth it. We can skip meals for this. Exactly. This is 100% worth a week of wrong. Let's go. Let's go. Anyways, we appreciate you guys. Remember, stay on the bottom, and we'll talk to you later. This has been Greg. This has been Matt. And friends, we will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of your day.